welcome to another episode of Jhet's Shadows, True Crime and Life Lessons. I'm your host, Jhet, and today we're delving into one of the most enduring and tragic mysteries in American true crime history, the JonBenét Ramsey case. Before we begin, please note that this episode explores a very sensitive story through the lens of respectful inquiry and personal growth. My goal is not to sensationalize the tragedy, but to examine the facts, the controversies, and ultimately the lessons we can learn about media influence, public perception, and our own need for truth. The story begins on the morning of December 26, 1996, in Boulder, Colorado. In a home that once held laughter and routine, the Ramsey family was thrust into unimaginable grief when the body of 6-year-old JonBenét Ramsey was discovered in the basement. JonBenét, who had once graced the spotlight as a child beauty queen, became the center of one of the nation's most talked about and perplexing cases. Investigators were immediately faced with an array of perplexing evidence. At the crime scene, a lengthy ransom note was found, a note that many believe hinted at motives yet left more questions than answers. The condition of the home, the location where her body was found, and later forensic analysis all painted a picture of a case mired in controversy and ambiguity. Early investigative missteps, compounded by constant media intrusion, meant that instead of a clean, methodical probe, the case was often muddied by premature conclusions and rampant speculation. As theories abounded, two main narratives emerged. One posited that an unknown intruder broke into the home and committed the crime. The other, and perhaps more chilling for the public, suggested that someone had close to the family might have been involved, a theory that not only deepened the pain and confusion but for everyone affected. Over the years, despite numerous investigations and forensic advancements, the truth of what happened that December morning remains unresolved. JonBenét's untimely death stands as a stark reminder of how tragedy and mystery can intertwine, leaving behind more questions than answers. One of the defining aspects of the JonBenét Ramsey case is not just the unsolved mystery, but how it was engulfed by a media frenzy that transformed a private family tragedy into a public spectacle. News outlets and talk shows dissected every detail: the ransom notes, wording, the state of the crime scene, and even the private lives of family members, all before a comprehensive investigation could conclude. In many ways, the media's voracious appetite for answers drove public opinion more than hard evidence ever could. And this media sensationalism teaches us a critical lesson about the power, and sometimes peril, of information in today's age. In our modern world, it's all too easy for facts to be drowned out by conjecture and emotion. The JonBenét case exemplifies how quickly assumptions can form based on fragmented evidence. And we learn that when sensational headlines take precedence over thorough investigation, the line between fact and fiction becomes blurred, leaving a community and an entire nation to grapple with uncertainty. And moreover, the public impact of the case was profound. The intense scrutiny not only amplified the grief experienced by the Ramsey family, but also sparked widespread debates about how we consume and share news about tragedies. The outpouring of opinions and theories sometimes overshadowed the need for compassion and nuance. Here, we learn the importance of maintaining a critical mindset, to question, to analyze, and most importantly, to remember that the rush to judgment can often be as damaging as the tragedy itself. And this case forces us to re-examine our own relationship with the media. How often do we accept sensational narratives at face value? How vigilant are we in seeking deeper understanding beyond the scrolling headlines? These questions are as relevant in our daily digital lives as they are in comprehending a case that still defies easy answers. And as I reflect on the JonBenét Ramsey case, I find myself considering not just the mystery or the media spectacle, but what can we learn about our own vulnerability and strength in times of uncertainty? When I first encountered this case, I was struck by the profound contrast between the innocence of a child and the stark horror of the unsolved tragedy. So it challenged me to think about how we as individuals process conflicting emotions in the face of public tragedy, like grief, outrage, confusion, and what that reveals about our collective psyche. And one important lesson I take from this is the value of humility in our quest for truth. In a world driven by rapid information and the constant buzz of breaking news, it's easy to jump to conclusions or form opinions based on incomplete data. The enduring mystery of JonBenét's death reminds me that, sometimes accepting uncertainty and staying open to multiple perspectives is the wisest path forward. And it's a call to cultivate patience and to honor the complexity inherent in every human story, no matter how distressing. And another lesson is the importance of compassion, both toward others and toward ourselves. The way the media and public the discourse spiral in this case illustrates how empathy can sometimes be lost in the torrent of sensationalism. And I often ask myself, when we are faced with tragedy, do we take a moment to truly feel the sorrow and loss? Or do we rush to find answers, even if they might oversimplify the human reality? For me, this has been a reminder to slow down, to reflect, and to ensure that my judgments and conclusions are grounded in empathy and understanding rather than haste or bias. And on a personal note, this case has prompted me to re examine how I consume news and from opinions. It challenges me to dig deeper than surface level theories and question my own predispositions. How many times have I accepted a narrative because it was convenient or compelling, only to realize later that the truth was more nuanced? In our daily lives, especially when faced with conflicting stories or sensational claims, it is crucial to practice critical thinking, ask probing questions, and always leave room for the possibility that not every mystery is meant to be fully solved, at least not immediately, right? And I encourage you to explore these reflections in your own time, Consider the balance between needing certainty and embracing the unknown. Reflect on how quick assumptions might distort understanding. And remember, the true sight often comes from a willingness to navigate ambiguity with an open heart. And these moments of personal inquiry and a drive for deeper comprehension are, in many ways, the building blocks of resilience. And as we bring today's episode to a close, I invite you to carry forward the lessons we've unpacked together, or we've created together. The JonBenét Ramsey case, with all its haunting ambiguities and media excesses, challenges us to look beyond simplified narratives and confront the complexities of truth and perception. It urges us to be more compassionate in our consumption of stories and more critical in our search for understanding. Before you step away, take a moment to reflect on these questions. How do you balance the desire for quick answers with a need for thoughtful inquiry? Next question. In what ways can you cultivate patience and empathy when faced with unresolved issues or sensational news? Your reflection on these questions might, in time, lead you to a deeper understanding of both the world and your own inner life. If today's exploration resonated with you, please subscribe to Jhet's Shadows, True Crime, and Life Lessons and join our community of thoughtful listeners. I'd love to hear your thoughts, reflections, or any personal experiences where you navigated the murky waters of uncertainty. And let's keep the conversation going as we collectively seek clarity amid life's shadows. Thank you for joining me on this profound journey into one of America's most puzzling cases. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay compassionate, and remember, the pursuit of truth always begins with a willingness to question everything, even when the answers remain elusive. This episode is based on widely reported facts and publicly available records related to the JonBenét Ramsey case. Its purpose is to foster thoughtful reflection and personal growth while honoring the memory of the victim and the pain of those affected. The content is intended to inform and inspire deeper inquiry, not to sensationalize a tragedy.